Hi, and welcome to Fay at 5. I'm LaTangela Fay, your hostess, and you know it does my heart well to have those in the hot seat and on the tan line that's doing some wonderful things in the capital city, surrounding areas around the world. And today in the hot seat, we have none other than the beautiful author, the storyteller, Miss Candace Buford. How are you, darling?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Tan.
Anytime. I want you to think of this as an extension of your office. So as you have things that's going on, this book tour is taking off, you want to get in depth with it, we're here for you because the art of storytelling, it moves the dial. You know what I'm saying? And today I have questions that need answers. So
Well,
before we
I
jump
hope I
into the
have the
book,
answers.
how did you know that you wanted to become an author?
Wow. Okay, so I used to keep this journal when I was like 10 of just stories, observing people, things I thought were important. And I loved the art of storytelling, even from a young age. I was a German literature major in college, to my parents' chagrin. But I think throughout my life, I mean, I've put storytelling on the back burner. I went to law school, found out how to write like super regimented legal memoranda, but I've always had this penchant for storytelling and observing. So I've known for a while.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. You know, sometimes we'll have these ideas and we'll etch them out and we don't think to see them all the way through, right? Like you said, you kept this journal, you love to tell stories and even observe people. And with the observance of it, you can walk away with your own story, your own narrative, and you've created that. And with this book, Justice is a Team Sport with Neil, I think that you've captured it in so many different ways to where people have to sit and think. It's like no matter which side of the sideline you're sitting, you're going to provoke someone to think outside of their own box. Give me a little bit about the inspiration of Neil itself.
Well, I can't talk about this book without talking about Colin Kaepernick. He definitely inspired the book. And I thought, wow, someone's standing up by taking a knee. Someone's actually highlighting just the horrific violence that we've known about in the Black community for a long time,
Mhm.
but it's being caught on video. And it sucks that it's kind of commonplace when these videos go online and you're like, there's another one. And there's this callousness that forms in America around police brutality against Black people. And so when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, I thought, wow, I am behind this. And then I will never forget when the former president said, get that son of a bee off the field. And just like, I just thought, how demeaning. And then, we had him spinning this out into being against the troops and unpatriotic. And I just really wanted to reclaim that conversation in some way and say, hey, this isn't unpatriotic. This is the most patriotic thing that you can do is use your freedom of speech, use your platform if you want, and speak out against young Black boys being murdered in the streets.
You know, you mentioned how we see it so often and it does become commonplace. It's like we're so desensitized when we see it now. It's another hashtag, it's another retweet. It's just,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, again. And it doesn't become as important until it ends up on our own doorstep, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how society has now made us. That's how we feel. And when you even come up and say that justice is a team sport, saying that I can't get this message across alone. So while you're inking these pages and you're creating these characters and these voices, how is it that you really want the other voices to be portrayed? Those who may have doubts, those who may not say, I want to take a knee, those who may be confused as of why, what's the real purpose? How do you, as the author, start creating that dialogue?
Right. I definitely wanted to highlight those other voices and also highlight the fact that we are not united. The Black community is not necessarily united on this notion of protest. And, we have these signs, these flyers, these protest flyers that make along in the book, one of them says silence is violence, and one of Russ's teammates is like, this protester has to be a white person because silence is safety for us. And I really did want to highlight the chilling of free speech that exists in the Black community. It's perfectly reasonable to be afraid of protesting because of that retribution. So those voices are highlighted, and I made sure not to demonize it. I mean, I have those voices in my family. I'm sure you do too. I mean, we all have different points of view, but I also wanted to highlight the fact that, hey, if you do want to speak up, you should have allies in that. And I hope that other people will stand up and also speak out against police brutality.
Yeah, because you'll notice oftentimes, especially in our community, the Black and Brown community, if you have a difference of opinion, you automatically become, the enemy, and you should definitely have the freedom of speech. You should definitely have the freedom to feel the way that you do and to express that. Even if others can't jump on board and say, I want to take a knee, at least ask or be sensitive enough to understand that you have your reasons. And this is something that if I'm a friend or if I at least want to stand with you, even if I have to say, let them be themselves in this moment, do that. Did you ever come across a fork in the road while inking this book? Maybe this is too real and I can't put it in these pages.
I did. I had a completely different second half of the book lined out. And because I thought, oh, people can't really handle what actually happens.
You can't handle the truth.
No, y'all can't handle the truth. And so I actually had, kind of tacked a course to where, like, I thought maybe white America would be able to handle the book. And then I was writing this book during the protests of last summer, during the George Floyd protests.
So emotions are really high. So that ink is hot right now.
Oh man, the ink was hot. And it was, I live right down the street from the Seattle occupied protest zone. And at night I could hear those flashbangs. We had helicopters circling overhead for months. I mean, these protests really heated the ink on the page. And I remember just writing through the night, and I just went a different direction. I went hard in the paint and the protests and I think the book is better for it. I don't think that there's a delicate way to talk about young men whose futures are being cut short by trumped up charges and by police brutality. There's no delicate way to put that.
And then also with getting this message across, you're saying so much more than just, someone who decided to take a knee and say enough is enough of them doing it to us. Enough is enough of us doing it to us as well. Because if I'm taking a stand and saying that my life matters, it matters at all times. So it's like the readers, they'll get something from every single page. They'll get something from every character, but don't miss the message, that it's because we're tired. And if you're tired, you have to be just worn out completely. It's not just in the moment, it's every moment. And I caught chills when you said I could hear the sirens and I could hear the protesters. You're right down the street. So we're watching it on television. We're seeing it across the hashtags. But as the hashtags begin to disappear, it's not such a sense of urgency. Just like for us in Louisiana, after hurricanes hit, you'll see it when it's coming. You'll hear about it after a while, about a day or so, you hear about the aftermath, and then you're on to the next hashtag.
Right.
But we're still rebuilding.
Yeah.
So this is very important. And the fact that you took the courage to speak on behalf of those who observe, those who put it in their journals, and they just don't have I guess you could say it's the audacity for me. The audacity to say it out loud and to get the point across. I just applaud you for that, because this is a wonderful piece of work. And I'm so proud of you, girl.
Thank you so much. I hope that I hope that what kids and young adults and anyone who reads it takes away is that, you know, find your voice. Don't be afraid to speak out. It's an American tradition, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Absolutely. And how is it that we can keep in touch with you and your movements and everything that you have going on?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Candace Buford. And I will be posting updates there, and any form of activism that I see. I will always ask permission if I can take pictures. But yeah, I'll be continuing the fight there.
That's good. You keep your voice ringing through the crowds, make us all stand up or kneel, but make us pay attention and be a part of the change. Now, this is an extension of your office. So as outside begins to reopen and you make the field trip to Louisiana, I got you covered on the beignets, some snowballs, maybe even some crawfish. I got you, girl.
I just got married 2 weeks ago, and
Congratulations.
thank you, instead of having a wedding cake, we had a tower of beignets.
What?
So yeah, I love those beignets, so I will take you up on that.
I got you. Bring the family on down. It's a field trip. Now we got more work to do. So it's about time for us to get up and get out. Chase the sun or let the sun chase you. But either way, get after it. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Thanks, Ken.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.